and welcome to episode 90 of the Fools on a Hill podcast. I'm Cal, and I'm joined by Yanni and Liam. This is the place where we review the newest music in the world. I did it all. I told you.
Right.
I know. I told you. I'm all out of whack. I didn't do the intro how I do it, and then I completely forgot what the intro is.
Go on, try again.
No, who cares? How are we?
Great.
Great.
I'm out whack now.
So
The intro.
so good. Liam will know this more than anyone because I've seen him a stupendous amount of times already this
Too
week.
much.
But I bought a new jumper, so anything new that I purchase, I have to wear consecutively for about a week before I feel like I actually own it. So yeah, this jumper has been worn many a day.
Give us a twirl.
I've not got any chocolate with me, mate.
Beautiful. Looks warm.
Jumper.
It's so warm, and I need it in this old house of mine.
Ice Kingdom.
I'm gonna let it shine.
Oh, it's good to be back. Do we agree?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah.
I've been eagerly anticipating this recording.
Oh, as have I.
It's going to be an interesting one, I think.
It is going to be an interesting one, and it's going to
Possibly
be
divisive as well.
possibly divisive. But what is certain is that it's going to be a much shorter one because we only have one segment today.
Mm.
But it's going to be a good one because it's a double ender. Isn't that right, boys?
We know all about that. One
We
of us
do.
is always left out when it's a double ender.
It's
Just
really
hold
sad.
it in place.
It's normally me. It's really sad. We're off to the album Spotlight.
Album Spotlight time. We're going to review one of the albums from last week. And first up, we have the new one from Shame. Possible foreboding? Telling of the forwardness?
Forbidden.
Food for Worms is the album, isn't it?
It is.
It certainly is, Liam.
And we start with the track Fingers of Steel, which I can remember us all feeling quite underwhelmed by when it was released as a single. Is that right?
Definitely. You're so right, Callum.
So right. So full for you.
so full for you.
So fun for you. I think what it was it came out just
was-
before recording, or no one was aware of it until just before recording. I can't hear myself. I feel very disoriented.
I hear you.
And so we only got to listen to it like once each, I think, and then we all felt a bit lackluster by
yeah.
the whole thing.
It's a shame because that's the band, and the song
Wow.
itself is it's actually quite good. It's probably my favourite track of the whole album, if I'm honest.
Ooh,
Um,
quite the statement.
in terms of the album overall, I feel like it does a good job of introducing the type of things that you're going to expect. There's a couple of issues with the mix overall on this, and there's a couple of odd choices they make with some of the songs, in my opinion, overall as well. But I feel like this sets the groundwork for what's to come.
It's worth noting that this is the only song mixed by someone else on this album. The rest are all mixed by someone else.
Informative.
One person mixed the rest of the album, and one person mixed this song. So it definitely sounds different. But yeah, there's still mixing issues. I believe all songs were recorded live. If you
Certainly feels that way.
that seems like a very straightforward thing to say because surely they're all recorded live, but no, I think a full band setting, all recorded at once. So there's going to be little interesting bits, I suppose, that you'll notice on listens. But what am I talking about now? The song
Don't know.
itself, big fan. I agree. I'm a big fan of this song. I feel like it's got a great kind of drive to it. Really kind of hits the ground running with this one.
Yeah, I struggle with some of the melodic choices sometimes. I feel like they just feel a little bit forced. But the instrumental break after the first chorus is lovely, and it really makes the second verse pack a punch.
Pack a punch.
Pack a punch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Zombies. Next up, Six Pack. I think we all said pretty much the same thing about this track when it came out, which was that we didn't really like it that much. And again, this one is where the mixing is really noticeable with how just bad any decision behind the mix of this was. I really just can't like this one. I've listened to it a lot because I've started this album to try and get notes for it so many times. So I've heard this one and Fingers of Steel the most, and this track I just don't like it. I just can't like it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Just despite the fact that it's so like balls to the wall and like untethered, it just feels a bit lackluster. I don't know why. I can't. I'm trying to look past the mix because we've said it umpteen times now that we don't like how this album and aforementioned singles have been mixed. So I'm trying to take it at face value rather than looking into that too much. But the song itself, I just don't really like that much. So it's hard.
Yeah.
I definitely dislike it less than I did the first time I heard it.
I agree
on
with that.
Subsequent listens, I really don't mind it as a song itself. I do think it's a bit of a throwaway though, still. And yeah, I mean, again, yeah, without just going on about the mix, maybe we should just say we're going to ban talking about the mix. But
Okay.
but this song in particular, you're right. I think it just feels very flat. The whole album feels very flat. It doesn't pack a punch. The bass doesn't come when it should. Those kind of distorted tones aren't quite. They just feel quite like hollow. A lot of it. And that's probably the biggest sin, really, and that's most evident on this song for sure.
You're spot on about mixing
you.
and being
Yeah.
flat. Yeah, Drunk Tank Pink, everything hits.
Mm-hmm.
The drums especially. I mean, the drumming on this album is phenomenal. I can't really look past that. But it just doesn't. I'm going to say it, then we've all said it. Pack a punch. There we go. That's it now. I can't say that again.
It just doesn't do it justice, does it? And on that note about the drumming being phenomenal, I think, I mean, we'll get into it more, but the instrumentation throughout this whole album is a step above Drunk Tank Pink, and I feel like a lot of the kind of melodic choices across the instruments are much more mature than previous.
Mature.
It kind of makes Drunk Tank Pink seem immature in ways.
I disagree with you, but we'll move on. Yankees is the name of the next one. I don't like the intro to this. It was extremely pointless in my opinion. However, I really like the chorus, even if it was sung horribly out of tune every time it starts. And I enjoyed the outro to this as well. But yeah, just that intro, just apart from sort of telling you, oh yeah, it's recorded live with a full, with a band. I don't really see the point of that. Doesn't do much for me.
Fair enough. I like the tone of the guitar and the bass in this one. It felt quite 2012. I don't know if I'm completely off the scent there, or if I've got the right year. But it feels like
I know what you mean.
A bit like Swim Deep era, like the New Gaze kind of like type vibe.
Now you've said it, I definitely know what you mean.
But I prefer the tracks that were released back then in the era that's in my head that I can't really describe all that well.
I understand completely what you mean about the intro, Yanni. However, kind of on the flip side of that, I wish the song was the intro more. Fucking hell, I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, Mango is sick of your opinion.
Is that someone at the door? I don't know.
Somebody's ringing
Mango.
the bell.
Cute dog. What was I saying? Yeah, I really like the sound of the intro, and then I was kind of bummed out that it was just like 2 bars, and then it kind of went into something completely different. So I wish they kind of expanded on what was going on there.
Wow.
Opinions. Everyone has one. But the song itself, yeah, I kind of like the chorus. It just doesn't sound great.
You can't mention that anymore. You can't mention
it's hard to.
That sounded like it really upset you. Deeply.
I'm trying to find another way to say it, but like I actually do like the chorus, but it's not delivered well enough.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. Yeah.
And like there's a lot of parts about this album that I really like, but I can't like them. It's not letting me like them.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad.
The
bass sounds great in this song.
I'm gonna rob some things that you've said to me, Liam.
Oh, the things
in that this whole album does feel like a stepping stone to where the next album, the ideas they've had on this, they're gonna fully realise. Because, to be honest, even though I'm not a fan of the sound of it, the tones of certain things I actually do like, and I like the playing style of the way they do something that's quite American-y. I've touched on that in a few more tracks to come, and I like it. I like the sort of vibes it gives off, but yeah, it feels like it wasn't fully realized yet, but it will be if they just carry on
Yeah.
a bit more. Moving on anyway.
Go on.
Alibis, nice transition from the previous track. I have noted down here, and it is a true statement. I like the chorus on
Factual.
this, and there's a low guitar riff. I think it's during the chorus that plays. It's in the right ear, or speaker, depending on how you're listening to them. And it is very satisfying. Whatever's being played, it's just the low guitar part is nice.
Yeah,
That's me done.
Okay, I was getting there. Phew. I could already feel myself getting slightly bored with this record at this point. Everything to me kind of felt a little bit one note. A lot of the melodies and the vocals, in particular, sounded quite similar. I had this in my mind going into it based on the singles that I wouldn't dislike it. I just would feel very indifferent to it, and that's how I felt at this point. Spoiler for what's to come, maybe. Not gonna let you know which way I go.
No one knows.
Have a guess. Leave a comment. I just felt like something was missing. And what you said, Liam, about the song not letting me like it. I don't think you've ever said a true word. I
Thanks.
loved that. Loved it.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, this one, I really like the intro. It kind of reminds me of like Beak or something like that. Kind of a
Beak! Beat it to it.
That kind of style. It sounded different from the offset. But then it just went into like an older Shame song to me. I don't feel like this felt new really at all. It could have fit on Drunk Tank Pink. It wouldn't have been one of the good tracks on the album. And yeah, there's not much that really stands out to me on Alibis.
Wow. Okay, well, moving on to Adderall. This is the last single to be released, I believe, before the album. And
yeah,
something I didn't mention, and I can't remember if you two mentioned it when we covered it, but the slower parts of this give me Pavement vibes.
Okay.
Obviously not to the level of Pavement, but when I sort of clicked with that, I thought this wasn't actually as bad as I remember. But the chorus in this is so annoying. I can't really look past that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Again, it feels like I should like it because I can get the kind of like, again, like the 2012 era shoegazy inspired stuff from it, which anyone knows me, that's my bag. This is not. Don't know why. I just haven't clicked with it thus far.
I think I expressed likeness. That's
Yes.
not the right word, on the when we covered it as a single, and I still like the song. I think it's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. I mean, yeah, that's not hard to say, really, to be honest. But I definitely enjoy it every time I listen to it. It feels like it's yeah, some sort of nostalgia there. Maybe I kind of get where you're going with the Pavement thing. The backing vocals are great on it as well. The middle eight's good. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one personally.
Nice. Moving on to Orchid. Not a lot to say on this. Just moving on to Orchid. Good moments within, but there's just a lot of meh, and that's what I take away from it, unfortunately.
I wrote on my notes that I was losing the will, which I think is harsh, but it's just another nothing song.
I think I completely get what you're saying. The issue is that there've been nothing songs before this. I think this is actually quite a good song, and I think the like the backing vocals and stuff with the since that bit sounds really good. I think like some of the melodies and stuff throughout are really good. But you're right. You kind of at the point within the album, it kind of lets it down a little bit. But this reminds me of like again like kind of reminds me a little bit like Third Eye Blind.
I got a bit of that, but not as good.
Yeah, not as good, obviously.
It's the best album of every year.
Every
so
year. But yeah, I like Orchid. That's one that stood out to me from like the non-singles, definitely.
Nice, thank you, Liam.
Thank you.
Godfrey. The next song is called "The Fall of Paul." Again, a nice transition into this one from
Yeah.
previous track. I like the heavy part with the riff, but wasn't really that bothered about the rest.
Well, Yanni, this was where my fortunes took a turn for the better. I was not expecting this because, as you've just heard,
Mm.
I didn't like the first half of the album, and I don't tend to like second half of albums more than the first half of an album. I said album far too many times then.
Yeah.
This album is a juxtaposition to that rule.
Oh, he said it.
I've
Tick
said it.
off.
Tick it.
That seemed like
Ding,
an egregious
ding,
use of
ding.
that word.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't grammatically correct, but everyone knows what I mean. I start to enjoy myself a lot more from this song. It reminded me a little bit of Fontaine's DC, which is ironic because I'm not really that bothered about them either. I just think this sounds so much more interesting. It's just a bit more off the lead, a bit more wacky. And I think it's the closest to Drunk Tank Pink that we've had so far in terms of actual energy and that coming through.
Crew.
I think you're spot on about energy, but I feel like this one's just a bit too messy for me. It doesn't feel, and I think that's a thing for most of the album. To be fair, there's a lack of direction in some of these songs. But this one particularly just seemed a bit like, let's just throw everything to the wall. It doesn't quite stick for me.
Including the balls.
Balls to the wall.
So many balls. Next up, Burning by Design. This one really just passed me by when I was listening to the album overall. But I will say that this one, upon quickly listening to it now, does give me the Third Eye Blind vibes that you've previously mentioned.
Well,
But again, to stress this to the absolute max, not as good.
That's the album of the year every year.
It is.
Single year.
Every time.
I actually really like this song again. Is
Such
it
a
a
bitch.
sample of a MacBook sound, like an Apple sound?
Well, that opening.
Yeah, because it
part.
sounds identical, but I can't
Yeah,
tell
it's
if
pretty
it's
close.
I can't tell if it's just a guitar or if it's actually a sample. It comes back quite a few times.
Wow, yeah, you spot on there. It's
Thanks, mate.
so similar. Different key, I think.
Oh well,
He's got a
maybe
really
it's, yeah.
Sorry,
Can't let
we're
you
all
have anything.
journalists.
I
We're all
know,
journalists.
it just feels a little bit different. I don't know. I think the vocals just seem a little bit more considered, and I quite like that. And then when it gets heavier, it's just you know.
Well,
Yeah, I really like this, and I also like the way he sings in this one. The issue for me is parts. It feels like there's one too many guitar parts going on. Just feels like it's just a bit like there's something playing that just seems too much. Like I wish it wasn't quite as not less heavy, but I don't know. There's some chords being played somewhere without me trying to specify it that don't quite sit as well. But I do like the song in general.
nice. Different person. Second
Okay,
to
I'll
last
go.
track. What? Baseline on this was, and I'm not going to make any sense now. I know this, but it was great. It was a fantastic baseline. However, I hated the baseline too because it starts playing purposefully because it happens all the time throughout the song, but wrong notes. Like it goes like a semitone down on the fret or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it just sounds really off kilter and not in a way that I enjoyed. But like the playing of it itself, it was really enjoyable. Really stood out to me upon first listen and only listen.
Yeah, again, I really like this track. Although I did start to question myself if
real life.
if I'm getting more used to this style of Shame, or if the songs are actually just better. So I'm excited to hear what Liam has to say because Yanni's one listen. It's kind of hard to grasp the
I mean, I don't.
Answer.
I never have much. I've listened to this album like 6 times. I still don't have much to say. I've go back to your comment about the bass line, Yanni. I really like the bass line, and I think the off-kill notes sound all right. So you are a bit of a stickler sometimes about off notes. It's a feel
Yeah,
thing,
I
isn't
just
it?
don't like being. I just don't like things being played wrong.
Yeah, that's what's going on. But the parts of this remind me of Favorite Worst Nightmare. The parts where like there's multiple backing vocals at the same time. For some reason, it
Multiple.
reminds me of something from more like one of the B sides. And then I really like the kind of mid late where it goes into the that part is really good. That was perfect. If you want to listen back, play that alongside the song. It will fit in perfectly. But yeah, I quite like this one. I actually didn't like this one the first time I listened to the album, and it's the one that's grown on me the most from
Wow.
kind of subsequent.
You've really come away from this a different person, Liam.
All the people.
All the all the people indeed. So many people. This is the closer to this album. Definitely the right choice of song to be the closer. Although it could have just been written to be that way. So that might be a pointless comment. But I don't really know how I feel about it. I kind of like it, but also I'm indifferent towards it. It's not going to really stick with me. I think it's the problem.
Yeah, I think that's a good metaphor for most of the album. I do like it. Definitely the right choice for closer, as you say. And I thought it was just slightly too long, but I accept it in this instance.
He accepts length.
I do.
You'll allow
I
it.
do. Yeah. And
I allow your length.
and I have deduced that I am going to revisit this album throughout the year when I'm not pressured to see if I like the first half anymore, because I do really like the second half of this album.
Wow, statement. I pretty much agree with everything that's been said about this song. As in, it's a good ender for what it is, but it doesn't really stick with me much at all. I do like that. You can hear like everyone singing along at the end, all the people in the room. But yeah, I don't know how. For what this album is, I think this was the right way to end it.
Beautiful. And that's been the track by track that we do. We now must rate.
Fuck yeah.
And we do that individually
I've not thought about this at
to
all.
begin with. So, Mr. Cal.
Mr. Cal, I am going to give
Mr. Hull.
this a 6 out of 10, which might seem harsh based on how much I like the second half, but my God, it was going to be a lot lower. So
I don't think that's harsh, not to avoid spoilers. Mr. Godfrey?
Mix and the way this album sounds plays in a lot to this score.
You can't say that again. We've ruled it out.
I'm summarising. I'm allowed to bring it up once more. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 too. But I'm upset by that.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's annoying to me. I think it's actually, I could easily give it a 7. It's on the edge. If it sounded better, it could be higher.
Yeah.
It just feels like a shame.
Beautiful. But it's not closing off there. I've got to give my score.
Go on then.
And it's going to be a 6. That is the number of the beast, which makes working out the full score so easy. Liam Godfrey, please do the honours.
Falls on the Hill score of the week is 6 out of 10. Score of the week?
Bing bong.
Is that what it's called? Score of the week. Hopefully it's not the score of the week. Because what have we got next?
Yeah. And that's been the Shame review. I hope you've liked it. If you did, then you know what to do. Just go below and do all those things that are there. It'll take you at least half an hour to do every single thing.
We have another album review in our Album Spotlight series. And this one is from our favourite cartoon friends, Gorillaz. Cracker Island is the album. Talk to me about it.
Talk to you about it. Okay.
Talk to me about it.
The opening track, which is also, funnily enough, it's called Cracker Island. Can you believe it?
Shit.
I know. It slaps. Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable. It fucking just, it's great. It slaps. Lyrically, does a great job of setting up the theme of this album as well, which I've watched the interview he did with Zane Lowe, Damon, this is, obviously. And he was saying, Do you mind? And he's basically talking about like a cult of technology, essentially. And if you listen to the words, then you will understand that is an ongoing theme. The bass is obviously unreal. I mean,
Stinks.
we've got Thunder, bloody honks. It does. We've got Thundercat. I mean, it's gonna be good, and if it's not, he's let himself down more than anyone. But he hasn't on this occasion. So what a way to open this album. Am I right?
You are so right.
Bob on.
So right.
It is the fattest of stonkers. And I agree with everything else you've said, so I'm not going to step on toes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It stinks. And Thundercat's vocals are great as well. It just is a rip snorter.
Oh, love it.
Oh yes.
There we go.
Return of the Rip Snorter.
Once again. Next up, we've got Oil, which features the wonderful Stevie Nicks. Beautiful. In fact, fucking beautiful, I put on here. Because it just is. When her harmonies start coming in and they layer up and they build, it sounds so good. As soon as this song came on, I was like, well, this album's going to be fucking amazing.
Yep.
I was
exactly the
That's
same
when I
thought.
sent the message. I was like, I've got a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
Well, when I first heard it, I was unsure as to whether the Stevie Nicks collaboration was necessary. And then I grew up, and I was so wrong, because holy fuck. Oh, it's just a fantastic pop song, which just that sounds like it's an injustice. It's so
It's
good.
not. No, it's absolute pure top quality. It's so good. The vocals sound brilliant. The raspiness with the cleanness of everything else, it just works so well. And like I said to you, Yanni, when we were talking about yesterday, it almost sounds like she's like auto-tuned, but like I think it's just like a number of takes on top of each other, and it creates this kind of like bouquet of beautiful, you know.
Oh, you've really ruined that. You said bouquet and then you just said beautiful. Could have been so good.
Oh, you could have it, couldn't you?
No.
And
Never.
what was I going to say? I had something else to say, and you've ruined it now.
You bitch.
I didn't ruin it.
You did. Oh, and this really kind of like, this feels like this is Gorillaz. This feels like old Gorillaz, new Gorillaz.
It is Gorillaz, you're right.
Gorillaz.
You're spot on. We're covering Gorillaz. Well done.
You know what I'm trying to say. This feels like a pure distillation of Gorillaz sound.
Yes.
And Stevie really, really works there. She should have just been in the band from the beginning, really.
That would have been great. Next up is Tired Influencer, which I struggle not to say influencer because that's how it's pronounced in this. And Cal, just to link it back to videos that we watch, influenza.
What, you watch videos about the flu?
No, there's a song
God.
where the word influencer is rhymed with influenza, and every time he said influencer, it made me just think of that. Anyway,
I'm not going to lie to you there, Yanni. I laughed along so I didn't hurt your feelings. I have no fucking idea what you're about.
oh, it's all right then. Can we cut that then?
No.
That is embarrassing. For
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, I'm gonna go.
Let's crack on.
You could have just let me at it. But
Nope.
No.
Fuck off. Are we going to carry on?
Is it Yanni has just checked out?
No, this is it's a nice little tune. It feels like I'm on a tropical beach. That is the vibes I'm getting from this. I'm going to say vibes again, so just strap in.
It is pure vibes though, isn't it? I was ready.
Yes.
I was ready for a bit of a slower one here, and it worked. Perfectly placed.
I disagree wholeheartedly with that comment. I didn't need this here. I think the song is absolutely fine. It works within the context of the album so well. It's very dreamy. I think it doesn't really stick out to me as a song. I would never really go back to it.
It's definitely a
don't
song,
think-
mate.
It is a song. It sticks out to me as a song, and I'm like, wow, song. But I didn't need it yet, personally.
Yeah, that's a very good comment to make. Congrats.
It was a comment.
Congrats. Silent Running is the name of the next track, and I'm just going to throw it in the hat, as you do. This is probably my favorite
Wow.
song
It's my
off this album.
second favorite.
Although I'll say it when we get to it, there was a time when that might have not been the case. Might not have been the case. Anyway, fucking English has escaped me today. It's just a great song. This should have been right after Oil. That run then
Yeah.
of songs would have been fucking phenomenal. The
Yeah.
pre-chorus and chorus of this are great. Just, I mean, I know if you've watched our previous video, which I'll link somewhere, the mix on this album is
Yeah.
fantastic. Everything sounds so clear and so good. The
Take no
bass
shame.
is so fat and punchy, and everything sounds good.
I completely agree, and I'm very intrigued to know what your previous favorite on the record was, Yanni.
Well, I'm not telling
because,
you anymore.
well, I think that one is also top for me. I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize. Adelaide Omateo, I think.
I think that was spot on.
Thank you. The
Yeah.
additional vocals
I think.
are nothing short of a bouquet of beautiful.
It sounded really shit when you said it. Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
What a wonderful addition to a track.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Fantastic. The synths are great. The melody is fantastic.
Mm.
Oh my god, I love this song.
This song has been on repeat since it was a single. If I'm honest with you, I've listened to it every single day. So, yeah.
It wasn't a single, was it?
No, I didn't think
Yes.
it was it?
Yep.
We didn't cover it,
God, slap on.
and so therefore I didn't listen to it.
Well,
No,
Yours.
honestly, yeah, phenomenal song, brilliant. The chorus and the pre-chorus is pure pop goodness. Like this should just be on the top of the charts. It could be, and if it's not, I haven't checked because I don't give a shit. But if it's not,
It's definitely not, is it?
It could.
top of the full chart.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing not pop about this song. Modern pop. It will fit so well if people just open their ears. But yeah, the backing vocals are incredible. The part where the whistling comes in, that mix there, you've got this dirty, stinking deep bass.
Wow.
All the percussion sounds great.
Does he?
Then that high whistling comes in. You've got vocals from, I believe, Adelaide. I don't think it's Damon. And the mix
That's not
of
his
all
surname, mate.
Oh, dickhead. That mix of things in that moment with the whistling is peak.
Yeah, we've already done that. Don't say it again. Next up is New Gold, which at this point is Old Gold because we heard it a while ago.
Tarnished.
This one makes me
No, not tarnished.
not tarnished. It's not tarnished.
The word for like when it goes a bit muddy because it's old. Anyway, whatever.
It's Old Gold.
Warm.
Anyway,
No, it kind of goes like a kind of greeny,
Tangent.
muddy kind of
Oxidized.
oh,
oxidized. Yeah,
that's
Copper.
yeah. Anyway,
oxidized gold.
copper. Anyway, yes. This one I feel better about in context of the album as opposed to when it was released as a single. I think we were all a bit underwhelmed. I still don't think the rap is that great, to be honest. Doesn't live up to the rest of the track. But the music I can vibe to anyway. And Kev's voice, it's always a joy. It's just pleasant.
Bob on.
Thank you.
Bob on. While the rap might not be the best, I think the way that it comes in makes up for it. I think there's so much momentum as it goes into Booty's part that any slight wrongdoing is made up for. That was so uneloquent. It's a good
Beautiful.
tune. Goes on too long though. The ending's just a little bit like, oh come on, because we know what's coming next.
Don't we just?
Yeah, Christian.
Got Axl Rose there.
No, I was going for Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, not Welcome to the Jungle.
No.
Moving on.
You got me thinking. I was doing anyway.
No, you're right. I was wrong.
I was right. Within the context of the album, yeah, this definitely works a lot better. I think I agree with what you're saying about the rap, but I think the sound and the presentation of the rap, it definitely supersedes. Wow, the rap itself and it's a shame kind of that
It's not a shame.
the content wasn't quite there.
I've done that.
But it sounded, very kind of what's the other Gorillaz song we're rapping in? It's Clint Eastwood.
There's only one other.
The one I'm thinking of. The sound of his voice sounds like it does in Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
So, is it Clint Eastwood I'm thinking of, or
Finally, someone let
Good
me out of my cage. That one. Dum, dum,
I'm trying?
dum,
It's
dum,
between that
dum.
and Feel Good Inc.
dum.
that the sound of the vocals sounds kind of tinny like it does in this, and it works really well. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It sounds good. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Speaking of
Thank you.
sounding good, the next track, Baby Queen. Whoo! What a slapper.
Big time slapper.
This was the other contender for top track. But there's one more as well.
Okay, good.
The bass in this is so satisfying. Like I've touched on before with the mix and everything, but the bass playing as well, it's just what it needs. It's just perfect. And again, listen to it non-stop since it was released.
I agree. This is on FIFA 23, so I've had the pleasure of listening to this since September. And fuck a duck, I have not grown tired of it.
Wow,
So
that is quackers, mate.
This slaps harder than KSI's dad. It's a little bit out of date, that joke, but there's one for the trailer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah, this song sounds phenomenal. I'm not as big a fan of these slow ones personally. They just don't really do as much for me. But I do think it's a great track. Really
Liam,
good track.
you've really let me down by how not excited you were about this song. So we're going to move on. It's
I've just explained to you why.
one of my. But I don't care for it, Liam. Godfrey. Next up, one of my.
It's my full name.
Liam! One of my least favourite animals, tarantulas. However, a great song.
Okay.
What a great song. Great chorus. Happy vibes, man, is what I put. Just happy vibes.
You had me worried when you said your least favourite. I was happy that you said Animal, because this is my favourite track on the record.
Well, that's
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
By quite some
absolutely
difference
incorrect.
as well. And it's purely, Yanni and
Go on,
Liam,
tell me.
because of the happy vibes that you just mentioned. This makes me feel on top of the world.
Hmm.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's
I
very
love the lyric. I'm on 1%, but I'm there with you. I just think it's just wonderful. I think I'm
Proper
in
summer
love.
tune in it.
Yeah, proper summer tune. I'm in love. I can't wait to maybe be round at Liam's with a barbecue if I'm invited this year, with a Pims or something.
Oh, the Pim.
You might be able to
Pims.
come in, mate. I'll have a barbecue at mine as
Oh,
well.
there we are. Then maybe I'll just buy my own barbecue, but you know.
Party time, excellent. Yeah, it's a good feel good tune. Chorus is great. Again, doesn't really stick with me much. As some of the earlier ones, if I'm being honest. I did feel a bit fatigued with this album every time I listened to it around the halfway point.
Wow.
Fucking grow up. Next up, we have Tormentor featuring Bad Bunny, the artist
Naughty
who
Bunny.
apparently is everywhere in the world,
All over the place.
but not heard a single song by him.
Big in the Americas.
In the Americas. Huge in the Americas.
Yeah.
Normally, and don't know how this is going to cross, but this type of song annoys me. This
Yeah.
style of track annoys me. But in context of this album, it works very nicely. It changes it up enough, and I feel like I'm at a sunset party when I'm listening to it.
Do you have a Pims?
Stop with your Pim obsession.
Fucking obsessed with Pim.
It's just
What's wrong with this guy?
I get to this point in the year and I'm like, oh, it's nearly Pims time.
Fucking 1st of March. It's raining outside. and you're
Yeah,
thinking,
nearly.
"Can't
I'm
wait for
saying
Pims."
nearly.
It's March already, boys. That is fucking
St. David's Day
mad.
though.
Yeah.
Come on, come around, Biff.
Too cool.
Um,
Really happy, everyone.
While I agree that Tormentor works well in context of the album, I'm not remotely asked about this song.
Right. That was really took it down a notch there, didn't it?
Succinct.
I agree with what you're saying, Yanni, that usually these vocals on any other song I wouldn't like, but I feel like what the rest of the Gorillaz have done is very just like light and airy and poppy and
Yeah.
fun, and it feels nice. And I'm like, yeah, I love this. I really resonate with these vocals. I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds good.
All about the feeling, man.
And it's very it kind of it feels nice. It feels like the whole album really, most of it does feel like you just sat on the beach with a cocktail.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like the ending to this as well, where it
Little
sort
LA
of
vibes.
calms down a bit. Yeah, because we've all been there. And it just kind of like a child piano kind of sound being played. It's very relaxing. Moving on
Go on.
to Skinny Ape. It's a very weird song, really. It didn't really click with me how weird it is until I re-listened to it today. Probably my least favorite of the whole album. It manages to work, although it does have very sort of like distinct parts. Like it starts off and it sounds a little bit country-esque. God,
Easy for you to say.
yeah, because of the guitars and everything that are getting played, and then it sort of transitions into a typical Gorillaz style song, and then it has the mad, what I've noted down here, fighting Japanese anime style songs where it just picks up the pace and it's rapid.
Real arcade music.
Yeah, proper arcade music, but I feel like it does that well. So I mean, congrats to Damon and Co. For pulling that off. But yeah, just this one, I'm not really bothered by.
Yeah, I thought it was a slow start, but then the ending, or like I suppose like halfway, like the fighting style arcade music you were just on about. That release was like, fuck it hell. That like really like made me sit up and listen.
Did it make you release?
Not quite.
Snakes were drained.
Worms. Thank you.
Worms?
Oh, I was
There's
trying
more than one.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I put wowee for how that second bit made me feel because
Wowee.
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 Yeah. I don't know what the word is. It's like it's
I
not.
think it's wowie.
I've written anthemic, but it's not. It's like
Euphoric.
my guy.
That's
That's my guy right there.
Draining. It was a bit too much of an attack for me.
He felt personally attacked.
Very much. I think this song's good. I don't particularly like it, but I think it's good. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't really have an actual issue with it. I'm just not a big fan of it. I did like it when he sings "ape, ape, ape, ape." That's cool. That sounded good. But yeah, that kind of when that comes in, it was just like, fucking hell, what's going on here? Being attacked. That's my review.
I think the word for that is wowie.
Wowee.
Yeah.
And that draws the album to a close with the final song, Possession Island. This one, I mean, it depends when you're asking me, to be honest. Because this could also be my favourite song off the album. I've gone as far to say as this is probably one of the best Gorillaz songs ever. It is beautiful. I'm going to use that word again. Wowie, indeed. And I mean, Liam, we touched on this the other day when we saw each other, but the moment those trumpets and the Spanish sort of, and the sort of guitar playing comes in, I mean, Ascension.
I felt slightly underwhelmed.
You are a prick.
But
Grow up.
no, but my last few listens to it, I've enjoyed it more. So I understand I'm the problem.
You are.
I'll accept that.
You are the problem. This song, Yanni was spot on with everything he said. That piano motif that comes through the song. Oh God, it gets me so strong. And yeah, the trumpets and everything. The way that sounds as well, really tinny again. It just works so well. Yeah, beautiful ending to the album. And I like that Beck's very understated in it.
Yeah, you can hardly really tell it's someone else. It just sounds like Damon, really.
Definitely. But like, assuming he contributed to the song, obviously, it was a great feature for a feature.
Definitely. And that's the track by track rundown of this album. Now we must rate individually before we give our overall score. So, Cal, what's
Yar.
it gonna be, my friend?
It's gonna be an 8 from me.
Well, there we go. Straight to the point.
Pretty quick. I'm also happy to give it an 8.
Okay.
Happy to do that.
Well, I feel like I might be going out on a limb here then. But this is a 10. No, it's not a 10 out of 10. But yeah, it's. I'm going to say it's a 9, in my opinion.
Wow.
Nice. I'll allow it.
Thank you so much. But that does mean that there's going to have to be a bit of mental maths going on for old Godfrey over there.
Not
So
really.
please, the Fall's overall score for Cracker Island by Gorillaz, what is it going to be?
It's going to be an 8 out of 10. Do I have to say it's out of 10? Just say it's 8.
It's 8.
It's an 8.
So yeah, if you've enjoyed that review, then let us know and tell us your thoughts down below and go and do all those things that good people do.
Ding dong.
Also,
ding dong.
it's below. So many things below. Below us, please.
Below me.
Please be below me.
And if you're watching this as a pod and it sounds different, that's because we are doing it differently and you're just going to have to grow up. We're grown men. You know, 2 of the people here are a quarter way to 100. So, you know.
Charming.
Old.
Not long now, Yanni. Next month.
Fuck.
It's coming thick and
That's
fast. Isn't it?
not just I like it. Sorry, I'm laughing at Liam, not my comment. I just saw his little arm movement.
It's my nickname. Thick and fast.
Thick and fast
Yeah.
on the field.
So thank you for listening to the pod. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you two.
To the camera.
To you too.
To you too.
But I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
No.
Do you reckon Bono has?
No names. Well, he's got
Bono.
his glasses on, so I think they're going to hinder his chances, aren't they, really? Because he's going to miss, if he's looking for an orange, he's going to struggle. So
Tell
Bono,
me
reach out
about
if you're
it.
looking for an orange or a Satsuma. Ask for some help.
What a shite way to end this pod. Thank you for listening. Go below to see all the
Yeah,
good
you've already
shit.
said that. See you later.
No, I've said that for the album part, so actually I'm going to say it again for
that
the...
should just be covered.
No, Liam. Thank you. And we'll see you next week for more fun times. Isn't that right?
Well,
So fun for you.
maybe not based on the albums that have been released or are going to be released. So, we'll see.
Oh, that doesn't sound fun.
We'll see.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.